Now everyone has been hounding me for an update on the issue with the Leatherman cutters, and I finally have something to share with you. So I received two packages from Leatherman. One I purchased myself, and one that was sent directly to me as replacement for my cutters, along with a couple of messages that we will share in this video. So hopefully this will help kind of settle a lot of things and maybe explain more about what's going on. Let's get started. Now I got two packages from Leatherman, and the one that came directly from them that was a replacement to the cutters that I had, this is where I'm a little surprised. Now if you look, these actually have a 90-degree corner, which are exactly like the original cutters, the ones that I was saying were much better, which is surprising that this is what they sent me as a replacement. And I'm not complaining about it. That's really good, because if you look at the original ones, the ones that ended up breaking, you can see the rounded corner, where many people have said, you know, even if it doesn't break, it makes incomplete cuts. So clearly they have either found a stock of original cutters and they're no longer doing that other batch, or they're producing them very quickly and getting the older design back up and running. Whatever they're doing, it appears that they are basically getting it under control. It is sad that, unfortunately, the only information about it you're going to get from videos like this one. They did a communication with me through email, basically saying, we'd love to send you a new set of cutters. If you could send those back, we'd love to check them out, because we're discovering that there's a batch of cutters that were badly heat treated, and we're dealing with that. I wish that they would just tell the community instead of ask. Well, they didn't ask me. They didn't ask me to do it, by the way. I am going to tell you, though, they are on it. I just wish they would vocally say it somewhere, right? Say, hey, no problem, we're on it, and we'll take care of you. That's the kind of stuff they need to do. I know they want to show themselves as only having positive. I know that most people overreact, and I get it. But I feel like silence is a difficult thing to manage, you know, because you have no control over it. Anyway, what we're going to do here is, number one, we're going to install the new cutters. We're going to try it on the hanger again. And I'm also going to talk about potential replacements, because if you were to go buy one preemptively before you reached out to Leatherman, you'll notice that these cutters are no longer available on their website for order. They're out of stock. They have taken them out, and you can only purchase these, which we will talk about. These are not standard cutters, but they are Leatherman cutters, and we'll get to that. So let's quickly undo this and use the tool to reinstall these new cutters. We'll take a look and see what they're like. So it comes with the tool ready to rock and roll for this purpose. So we'll just use that one. Okay, there we go. So we are ready to rock and roll. Now you'll notice no more gap. It's all gone. So that's pretty interesting. Let's go ahead and try it on our coat hanger here. This is the same one that snapped the last set. No issues. It doesn't feel any different, to be honest. It doesn't feel any different than when I used the Free P4. It feels identical. I will say that I do need to work on the pliers a little bit. They're like a little bit stiff for some reason, so we'll work on that. And now that's actually just a mark that happens when things rub. It's not actually, you can see when you took a look at it at this angle, there's no deformity. Same thing is true here. So it does appear that these cutters, which they just sent, work perfectly. So that's cool. Now, had that not been the case, had they sent me a replacement that had those same rounded cutters, I had a backup plan. And so I want to talk about that backup plan briefly. So these are still available, but I want to be clear that these are not a drag and drop. You can't just drop these in and use them. These are EOD cutters. They're designed for the Leatherman Mutt EOD as well as the Super Tool 300 EOD. Now, the EOD cutters are quite a bit sharper than the ones that are standard on the Leatherman kit. What these are very, very good at is cutting soft wire. A friend of mine, Ben from Texas Tool Crib, actually replaced his cutters on his Leatherman Surge with these after he made a small modification to this corner. Now, if you take a look, you can see the only difference between these two is that there is more of a curve over here than here. A simple Dremel tool in a vise and you're ready to rock and roll in just a few minutes. But what will happen is it will remove those cutters, and also it will give you a longer cutting surface, like a much longer cutting surface. So there is a advantage and disadvantage. You're going to mar up the corner of this if you're grabbing large nuts with certain sized multi-tools, but I think the trade-off is pretty nice in that you're going to get much better cutting implements for soft wire. So that's very cool. In fact, I did that with my Leatherman Wave. Let me go see if I can find it. Hold on. All right, here it is. Took me a minute to figure out where the heck I put this thing. So I had modified this wave back in a long time ago, and we actually did a video where we showcased actually installing these EOD cutters on the wave. Once you get that rounded corner, which obviously I didn't do a perfect job, you absolutely can use them in either the wave or the Surge. Now, you can see that they've already sort of rolled the cutters, because right after what happened with the Arc, I went and I tried these on the hanger. Now, they absolutely cut and they did not chip, but if you were to use them on hard wire, you're likely to cause them to deform slightly. You could also use the same Dremel tool that you would to curve this to actually flatten out the edge slightly at the bottom, which would essentially make you new cutters. And you could make that a much smaller cutting area than they do on the standard cutters. Like, you don't have to make it quite as big as the one they have for hard wire. And the thing is these are very, very, very good, and they have a much larger cutting area. I think this is a reasonable solution, although not ideal. So what you could do is you could ask, if Leatherman contacts you, you could potentially ask them for an EOD cutter, just keeping in mind that they will not be a drop-in. You will have to do some modification. So where do we go from here? It appears that Leatherman is getting on it, which is great. I think the issue that they're going to have to tackle is the fact that it's not just one tool. I went and I ended up discovering that not only was the rebar with the new cutters, but the G10 Charge, both variations that I have, also have the same rounded corner cutters. However, neither one cracked under pressure, but they didn't cut cleanly either. So even if they don't have a bad heat treatment, those rounded corners do cause a little bit of an issue in that they're not as good as what they used to be. It's nice, however, to see them being active in trying to fix the problem with the Arc cutters. So overall, I'm glad to see them moving forward, is what it comes down to. I mean, I think they did a good job, at least with me. I'm hoping that you guys have a similar experience. And if you have gotten your replacement cutters, let me know down in the comments which ones did you get. Did you get the ones that I just got, which are like the old style and work perfectly? Or did you get the rounded corners? My guess is that they probably stopped sending those out, which is a good thing that they're kind of getting this under control. But yeah, this is what you're supposed to do. And Leatherman's doing a good job so far in fixing this problem. One just thing I will say as an aside that's not related to cutters, a couple people did mention, because I modified my Leatherman Arc with a full-sized bit holder, that I could have simply gotten a bit extender, and that would allow me to use different size bits. And they're not wrong about this, and it certainly is a cheaper solution and less complicated than what I did. But if you are going to get a bit extender, make sure that you don't get the cheapest variation. What you want is the sight adjustment tool. Now, even if you end up grinding down this little part right here, the reason you go with this is because it has a magnet versus the collar. The collar tends to get caught with a lot of different bits, and you end up having to use the plier to pull out those bits. This does not have that issue, and it functions very well, not only with the Leatherman bits, but it also functions with the Weha double-sided bits as well. So I had a couple of these already, but I figured I'd grab one more. And this is definitely what I would use if I didn't have the replacement bit holder that I ended up getting. Now I like my solution a little bit better, but you know what? I'm willing to customize. If you're not, the bit extender, this particular one, is what I would recommend. So I guess that's pretty much it. Do you think Leatherman handled this well? At least I will say this for them. Gerber has had complaints about their crappy carbide cutters shattering for like 6 years and has done absolutely nothing. At least Leatherman is on it. They've taken them off the shelves, as it were, like on their website. You can't buy them, and they're taking care of it customer to customer and getting them the replacement cutters. So at least in that regard, doing a decent job. I just think that it might be at the very least worth sending a newsletter out by email saying, hey, if you have this issue, let us know, we'll take care of you. You know, that's all. Maybe that would be a good call, and it would show that they're engaging with the community, not just waiting and being reactive, but being proactive, which I think always shows well. As always, guys, thank you for your time, and we'll talk again soon.